In this month's lesson, I'm going to be looking at harmonic pathways, or in other words, making your lead playing much more interesting and freeing up the fretboard at exactly the same time. So when we have simple lead lines of just one note at a time, we can obviously make really effective and expressive melodic lines, but if we have other notes that we can use to harmonize alongside those notes, then everything can become more interesting. So that melodic line of can become So the way I approach this is by taking scale shapes or scale patterns that I'm really comfortable with in a particular key. In this example, we're looking at E minor. And then I connect those scale shapes up and do a kind of a dot to dot thing where I find certain notes that work together. And when I do that, I find pathways across the scales as well. So I've created 4 examples for you here in the tab from Acoustic magazine. So in the first example, I'm showing you a variety of different shapes, which are my harmonic pathways, which sound like this. And then in the second example, I'm showing you the scales with which I've found those notes in. So we're using the E minor pentatonic, and then a G major scale, because E minor and G major work together. And then we're using another E minor up here on the A string, and then an E minor up on the 12th fret. Now, I've connected those scales together. I've done this kind of dot to dot thing where I'm finding 2 notes together across the actual scale patterns themselves. So I'm finding interesting harmonic shapes to use in my lead playing, but I'm also unlocking the fretboard. So for example, in the 2 first shapes, in my mind, I'm going from E minor pentatonic shape with the first shape, and then I'm going into the G major with the second shape. Of course, really, we're always in the same scale or same key, but we're actually finding pathways across the scales so we can access different licks that we already know. And when we put these notes together, everything comes to life. So a simple melodic line of can become, and then of course we can mix and match. So going from single line melodies to 2-note melodies. Now in examples 3 and 4, I've done exactly the same of giving you several shapes or harmonic pathways and then a collection of scale patterns, but this time working with D major and B minor. The trick really is to find your own shapes or pathways between scales. It's really great to use the ones that I've given you here and you can have a lot of fun with them, but really try and do your own dot-to-dot exercises where you're using scales you know in a particular key, gluing them together and finding your own shapes and bringing your own melodies to life.